Everyone thinks of changing the world, but no one thinks of changing himself. This insightful saying by Leo Tolstoy is a valuable reminder for all of us to reflect inward. The renowned 19th century Russian author suggested that we ask ourselves what God really wants us to do. As Leo Tolstoy said, "In the name of God, stop a moment, cease your work, look around you." A novel by Tolstoy is not a work of art, but a piece of life, stated Matthew Arnold, a 19th century British poet and critic. In addition to his renowned epic novels, Leo Tolstoy wrote essays and letters that conveyed the spiritual truths he came to realize in life. Along with adopting and promoting the vegetarian diet, he became deeply interested in spirituality and living by the ethical teachings of Christ. The concepts he conveyed through his writings about peace and the fulfillment of God's will greatly influenced 20th century leaders like Mahatma Gandhi and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Supreme Master Ching Hai spoke about the uplifting nature of Leo Tolstoy's work during a group meditation session with our association members in July 1997 in Los Angeles, USA.
Because Tolstoy was a practitioner, That's why when you read his stories, most of the stories about spirituality, about God, and very happy, very positive. It's very good to read him, to read his book. You try it. If you haven't, you try it. You can read more, Such thing is very good for you.
We would like to share with you an insightful excerpt from Volume 2 of The Pathway of Life called Effort. This section highlights the active striving and pure-minded focus that are needed to ensure our spiritual progress. Effort. Sins, errors, and superstitions obstruct a man's soul and hide it from himself. In order to reveal his soul to himself, man must make an effort of consciousness, and therefore in such efforts of consciousness is the principal task of a man's life. One, deliverance from sins, errors, and superstition is an effort. Self-renunciation delivers man from sins, humility from errors, truthfulness from superstitions. But in order to renounce the passions of the body, to humble himself before the errors of pride, and in order to examine in the light of reason the superstitions which enmesh him, man must make efforts. Only by efforts of his consciousness can man be delivered from sins, errors, and superstitions which deprive him of happiness. The kingdom of God is taken by effort. The kingdom of God is within you. These two sayings of the Gospel signify that only by effort of the consciousness within himself can man overcome the sins, errors, and superstitions which would retard the coming of the kingdom of God. Here on earth, there must be no rest, because life is progress towards a goal that cannot be reached. Rest is immoral. I cannot say what this goal is, but whatever it be, we are moving toward it. Without this progress, life would be folly and delusion, and we move toward this goal only by our own efforts. To become ever better herein is the whole concern of life, and one can become better only by effort. We all know that we cannot achieve anything in the material world without effort. We must realize that likewise in life of the soul, which is the paramount concern of life, nothing can be achieved without effort. True strength is not in being able to tie a steel rod into a knot, nor in possessing boundless wealth, nor yet in ruling over millions of people. True strength is in having mastery over self. Never think of a good deed. It is not worth the trouble. It is so difficult that I shall be unable to accomplish it. Nor, it is so easy, I can do it any time at my pleasure. Neither think nor speak in this manner. Every effort, though its purpose be unattainable, though its purpose be ever so unimportant, every effort, we repeat, strengthens the soul. Some think that in order to be a Christian, we must perform peculiar and extraordinary deeds. This is not so. No such peculiar and extraordinary deeds are required of a Christian, but a constant effort of consciousness to rid the soul of sins, errors, and superstitions. Our evil deeds, the sources of our misfortunes, are easy to perform, but what is good and beneficial to us requires an effort. If a man makes it his rule to do only what he pleases, he will not be pleased for long with what he is doing. Real tasks are those which require an effort to be accomplished. The path to good knowledge never leads over velvety lawns strewn with blossoms. Man must always make his way towards it over bare rocks. The search for truth is not entered upon in a merry mood, but always with agitation and emotion, and still this search must go on, for if you do not find truth and learn to love it, you must perish. But you might say, if truth cared to be found and loved by me, it would manifest itself to me. Truth does manifest itself to you, but you fail to see it. Seek it, truth wills it so. Two, it requires effort to live for the soul. I'm an instrument with which God performs His work. My true happiness is to share in this work. I can share in this work only by those efforts of my consciousness which I make so as to keep in good order, clean, sharp, and accurate the divine tool that has been entrusted to me, myself, my soul. The most precious thing for man is to be free, to live according to his own will and not according to that of another. In order to be so free, man must live for his soul. In order to live for his soul, man must subdue the passions of his body. The life of man is a gradual passing from the lower animal nature to an ever-increasing consciousness of spiritual life. We make an effort to awaken, and we wake up indeed when a dream becomes so horrible that we have no more strength to bear it. Even so with life when it becomes unbearable. At such times, we must make mental efforts to awaken to a new, a superior spiritual life. We must make efforts to overcome sins, errors, and superstition. Otherwise, as soon as we cease to battle against them, our body will attain mastery over us. We imagine that real work must have something to do with things visible, building houses, plowing fields, and that work on our soul, being something invisible, is of no importance, is something that we can do or let alone. Whereas every other kind of work is trifling, save the work on your own soul, the work of daily growth in spirit and in love. This is the only true work, and all other work is useful only as long as this chief work of life is performed. He who realizes that his life is bad and longs to lead a better life must not think that he cannot begin to live better until he has changed the circumstances of his life. Life can be and must be corrected not through external changes, but through a change within, a change in the soul. This can be done anywhere and at any time, and this is enough of a task for any man. Only when such a change enters your soul that you are unable to continue your former life. Only then alter your mode of life, but not when you think that you could reform yourself more easily by changing your mode of life. There is only one important life task for all people. This consists in improving your soul. This is the one task to which all men are called. Everything else is trifling in comparison. The truth of this is evidenced by the fact that it is the one task in which you can engage without hindrance, and that it is the one task which always yields joy to man. Take a silkworm for a pattern. He toils until he has strength to fly. You are clinging to earth. Toil over your soul, and you will receive wings. Joyful viewers, thank you for joining us on today's Words of Wisdom.